the big story of the weekend as it pertains to actual fighting was the debut of Rory MacDonald in Bellator. It could not have gone better for Rory MacDonald. He submits Paul Daly in the second round, absolutely dominant, and proving once again that he is, without a doubt, one of the very best welterweights in the world, still just 27 years young. And oh, by the way, has wins over the current UFC welterweight champion Tyron Woodley and the number one contender, Damian Maia. But now he's doing his thing in Bellator. He's back from London. He's joining us on the phone right now. Wanted to start with him right off the top because, in my opinion, he was the big story of the weekend. Rory, are you there?
I'm here. Thanks for having me.
A pleasure as always. Congratulations and a happy Victoria Day to you. We appreciate you stopping by on this holiday in not only Montreal, but in Canada as well.
My pleasure.
Rory, you've had some big wins in your career, but this was obviously a unique situation. Considering all the big wins, considering what this meant to you, the layoff, signing with Bellator, the debut, all that stuff and more, would it be fair to call this the most gratifying win of your career?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, like you said, considering all things, and it felt amazing. I'm still on a high even today, and I just couldn't be happier with the way things are right now and the way things went. It's been a good start to chapter 3.
Okay, so what was chapter 1 and what was chapter 2, just for the record?
I would say chapter 1 was my pre-UFC career.
Okay.
Chapter 2 being my UFC, and this being chapter 3.
I watched your post-fight interview with Jimmy Smith a couple times, but I just loved the smile and almost like the exhale that you had at the very beginning. It was almost like, okay, you got this monkey off your back, you're back in the win column, you win your debut. Could you describe that feeling, and have you ever felt like that after a win before?
No, I was in my moment. You know, I was in my element there. I fought like myself. I've never felt just more clear and right going into a fight. So everything was just perfect for that fight, and I couldn't ask for anything better. And I'm so stoked on just finally getting momentum, and now I get to go ahead and stay busy with my career and, you know, just keep getting bigger fights all the time and just staying busy. You know, that's what I want, and I'm just so excited about it.
You said that you had to look at your life and change all the things you were doing wrong, and that led to this performance and this moment. What were the things that you were doing wrong that you needed to fix?
Well, I think number one was staying focused on my strengths and not just stopping exploring every single new route of martial arts. Like, there's just so much knowledge and things to learn in martial arts. You could go down so many different avenues. So I got kind of caught up with that, and not that it was a bad thing. I mean, I had a lot of fun learning new things. Like, I love martial arts for that, but for my fight career, I really needed to stick to the things that I'm strong at and excel in that, and just add things that work within that style rather than changing my style for every single opponent. I think that was a huge one. My nutrition, my overall attitude with training and fight week and the fight itself. So there's things like that, and just my lifestyle in general. And I feel like I'm still working on a lot of things in my life, like anybody, but I made some major adjustments in the last year and the year before that. So in the layoffs, so I think everything really paid off. The positive changes I made, and it showed in my performance.
You also said backstage when you were speaking to reporters that there have been some fights that you've won, but you almost sort of had regrets afterwards because you didn't like the way you fought. Which fights were those?
Mm-hmm. The Stephen Thompson fight was probably the worst one for me.
Okay.
The Jake Ellenberger fight I wasn't thrilled with. There's been a couple, things like that. So where I feel like I outclassed, like some of the fights even that I won, like I outclassed the guy, I outpoint them, but I never really I never really went in with that mindset, like, I want to crush this guy. I want to destroy him in every single way possible. And just, going with that attitude and then deliver. Sometimes I just was more happy with just outpointing and just, showing my martial arts skill rather than, expressing what's within me. And I feel like I'm in tune with that now, and that's what I'm going to deliver to the people now.
So is it fair to say that Rory is dead? You won't fight like that again?
Pardon me?
Is it fair to say that Rory is no more? You won't fight like that again?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm totally on track with who I am and, what kind of experiences I want to have when I fight.
Did the fight go easier than you thought it would?
Yeah, it did. But I think that's because of, how hard I worked and how focused I was in every, field of mixed martial arts. I was mentally prepared, physically prepared, spiritually prepared. I was never in a better place going into a fight. So I think if I could carry that into my future fights, they could start going like that more often than not.
Do you think in hindsight you could have finished him in the first round?
I mean, maybe, but I knew what I was doing. I was very conscious of what I was doing to him in the first round, and I knew time was running out, but I was very confident with what was going to happen in the second round.
The performance was very impressive. The win was impressive. Like you said, you fired on all cylinders. You never looked better. But the post-fight interview, and in particular, when you looked at the camera and spoke to Douglas Lima and Lorenz Larkin and said, not only are you going to take the belt away, you're going to take away their health. And saying that while staring at the camera was just, that might have been your finest moment as far as post-fight interviews are concerned. Where did that come from? Was that something that you thought about before, or was that just off the cuff?
It's just what I'm feeling, when, like I said, I'm going to express myself fully when I'm in the cage from now on. And that's how I feel when I'm facing my opponent. I'm going to destroy you in every way. I have all the respect in the world for my opponents. I thank them for being my competitors because I need them. But I'll be completely ruthless, and that's just the way I'm going to be. When you fight me from now on, I'm there to destroy you and strip you of your health. And that's what it is at the end of the day.
Do you feel like a completely different person when you're in there as opposed to like the one I'm talking to now? Is there something that changes in you?
Slightly. I'm a pretty relaxed person outside of fighting, but I also love the other side of me that's physical and can be violent and express that side of me that I have, that's maybe tucked deep, a deeper part of me. Mm-hmm. I like to express that side of me. So I guess, I am a little different than what I may come across like in my everyday life.
So now that you have the first Bellator fight under your belt, and as we talked about last week, you've been in UFC for so long. I asked you how it was going, but it was a little early in the week. What was it like? Do they run things drastically different, in your opinion, than the UFC? Did you, like everything that they do? Were there some things that you didn't like? How would you assess fight week experience as a Bellator fighter now?
I thought it was fantastic how it went. I was very happy with it. Everything was very smooth. Probably the best weigh-in procedure I've ever been through.
Wow.
It was very, very comfortable and smooth the way they ran it. Didn't give me any headaches. As far as running around and suffering for a long time, I was very happy with the weigh-in procedure. As far as media, it was awesome. They really respected what I need out of fight week, but at the same time, promoting the fight. So, we worked together and, we got the job done, and it was done right. I was very happy with the way Bellator treated me and everything leading up.
I had a manager say to me after the fight that your victory and just how good you looked, and especially considering your age and your place in the sport, will now drastically change the way the UFC views free agency. For the last year or so, they've let some people go, including yourself, in the sense that they haven't really fought to keep you like maybe they would in the past. And now that you look so good, that essentially they gambled on you being shot, and you're clearly not. And now they're going to be a little more hesitant to let people go. Do you think that there is some truth to that? Like you essentially confirmed the fact, and I think that of all the signings Bellator has made over the last year or so, yours was by far the best as far as debuts are concerned. But now they're, this kind of like they gave up on you a little too quickly. In other words, do you feel that that's what you confirmed on Friday, among other things?
Absolutely. I opened a lot of eyes, I think. And I'm sure that the management over at UFC feels the same way as what you just said. But we're in the shoes that we are now, and I'm going to continue my journey the way I fought on Friday. And we'll see where we are the next contract negotiation. But I'm very happy with Bellator, and I hope that they are with me too.
Yeah.
So I foresee a good long-term relationship with each other. But as far as them not wanting to let go of some of their talent and being maybe they should be a little bit more cautious on how easy they let things slip through their fingers, because like I've tried to say in the past, fighters can't always be on 24/7 every single time they step into the ring. So you have to allow for these performances that aren't up to par in their normal, what you normally see. So I think they definitely they definitely messed up when they let me go. But that's their fault and Bellator's gain,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there have been many times where they have parted ways with a fighter or two, and it always seems like their debut doesn't go as planned, and it's happened in Bellator with the likes of Benson Henderson and others. But yours, I mean, this was vintage, if not the best Rory we've ever seen, and so it was interesting to hear that from someone who's in the business. What are the chances, because I feel like it would be a home run if your next fight, and it's going to be for the belt, as they've confirmed and you confirmed as well, if it happens in Canada, and maybe I was thinking like a British Columbia fight, you and Julia Budd, who's a champion there. What are the chances that you fight in Canada and help them, come back to Canada? And you've sold out, Ottawa, you've sold out Halifax. From what I understand, London was close to, if not a sellout. You're clearly a draw. I feel like in Canada it would make most sense next. Is that on the table right now?
From what I've heard, it's 2018.
Okay.
Just because I think of the time it takes to plan it, and everything they have in place for the rest of the year, 2017.
Okay.
But they know that I'm down whenever they're ready. So the ball is in their court as far as getting the show to Canada.
After fighting for the welterweight title, how soon do you want to try to go for the middleweight?
I'd like to fight for the middleweight title maybe at the end of the year. If there's a big card that we could promote and get me and the middleweight champion on there. Obviously, not looking past the welterweight championship fight. I'm just saying if everything goes as planned and everything's hunky-dory, an end of the year show for the middleweight title would be fantastic.
End of this year?
Yeah.
But you want to fight for the welterweight title first, right?
Yeah, I'm hoping September.
Okay. And then middleweight. Wow. So you want to get 2 title fights in this year?
That'd be perfect.
How's the health after the fight?
100%.
No problems?
I didn't get touched once, I don't think.
He didn't land one punch?
No.
Wow. Did you say anything to him after?
I just said thank you for the fight, and it was an honor to fight you. I've been watching your fight since I was a young guy, and I'm just letting him know how I felt about competing with him.
I noticed that as far as coaches are concerned, you only had Faraz in your corner. Why was that?
My coach, David Lee, his wife is going through chemotherapy, and
Oh, wow.
it was one of her final stages. So it was she had to be there for her. She's going through a harder fight than I was about to. So he was there to support her.
And that's 100% understandable, and I hope that she feels better very soon. As far as Faraz is concerned, I know that after the Condit fight, you moved to Montreal to train at Tristar. I think you were 19, 18 years old. I mean, you were very young. Do you feel, are you, and I asked you about it last week, so I'm not trying to pin this on anyone else, but was like the state of your relationship made out to be a bigger thing than it was? In other words, I mean, he was there. I know he was there early with you. Was that frustrating for you at all, that there was some insinuation that you were leaving Tristar, that he wasn't still a part of your team in your corner, things like that?
Yeah, I had a feeling reporters would try to swing it like that. But at the end of the day, Faraz, I'm sure wasn't misleaded by that. I think he knew full well that I'm here, that Tristar's home. He's my coach. And it's not like I haven't trained with David, throughout all these years. I've always been back at the Shido training with him and stuff. It's just this time was an extended period, and it was during a fight. So it was a small change up, but obviously the reporters are going to swing it to make a story.
By the way, I love those shorts. Those were sick. Did you like them? The sort of boxing stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. I chose them. They
were great. Is that your new thing now?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I like those shorts with compression underneath.
Yeah.
It felt good. So maybe I'll change up the color scheme next time, but I think I'll stick with those for a bit.
I'd have to imagine, you talked about last week about the sort of gamble of not getting a lot of sponsors for this fight, taking a bit of a hit, but hopefully it paying off. After that performance, are you confident that you will, be back in the black, so to speak, as far as sponsorship is concerned?
I'm sure it'll come. Obviously, I think, I don't know if you've spoken to anyone else, but the sponsorship market right now is a little bit hurting.
Yeah.
So, I'm confident, eventually that we'll partner up with the right people, with the right companies, and everything's going to be fine. I'm not stressed at all about that.
Okay. And I also love that you went back to, at least, I don't know if you got your hands wrapped while wearing the suit, but at least you were checking out the gloves on camera while wearing the suit. It's just it's a unique thing to you that I just really appreciate. So I hope you can do that every time. You did it against BJ.
Yeah, actually, I didn't wrap my hands for this fight. I'm not gonna wrap my hands anymore. I
What?
realized I don't really like doing it.
What? You just put the gloves right on?
Yeah, I was just trying them on when they took that picture.
But you didn't actually wrap your hands after?
No, I'm not gonna wrap my hands anymore.
Wow, why?
Feels better.
Have you ever done this before in a fight?
No, and especially with the Bellator gloves, they're a lot better than the UFC gloves for making a natural fist. So it's a lot more comfortable.
Wow. And did you feel a difference when you were punching?
Yeah, I felt a lot better.
Whoa. And you weren't worried about breaking your hand or anything like that?
No, I don't train with wraps, and never really had a problem with my hands or anything, so not worried.
Was that something you decided on the fly, or was that the idea going into the fight?
Yeah, it's something I kind of decided while I was on my layoff. I never trained with wraps, and I always found that they kind of cut off, blood flow when you're grappling as well, like, because you're flexing your forearms and grips and things. So it's just something I decided wasn't for me anymore.
I love that. That is great. That's why you're one of the most unique characters in the game. You just drop these little things out of nowhere, and I had no idea. Last thing for you, Rory, and again, so I'm really so happy for you, because I know that you didn't want to go out like that, and you had so much more left in you. And again, you're still so young. It feels like you're a lot older than you are, just because you've been fighting for so long, since you were a teenager. But 27, I mean, just unbelievable. You haven't hit your prime. So I'm really happy that this has worked out for you. What is the message to the people who thought that you were a little shot, that the nose was messed up, that you took too many hits, even the chin, you've been around for too long? After Saturday, what is the message? What is the lesson here?
The Red King is back and ready to go on a tear, baby.
love
it. You know, I really feel at my best. The layoff sucked, but it's over, and I'm ready to rip it up and stay busy and bring the best fights in the sport to you guys.
Amazing. Again, congrats, Rory. Very happy for you and your family. It was really cool, to see your, I believe she's your girlfriend, right? Not your wife officially?
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool to see you, celebrating, and even Rodolph making an appearance there in your corner. How about that? It's a big deal when. Again, with the with the Everlast gear and all that stuff. Enjoy the victory. Thanks for taking some time out on this holiday, and looking forward to seeing you in New York when you come here for the MSG card.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Ariel. Good to talk to you.
We'll talk to you very soon. There he is, Rory MacDonald, successful in his Bellator debut on Friday. What a performance against Paul Daly, saying that he actually thought the fight would be tougher than it was.